What's going on, everybody? So just decided to make a video here. Before this vehicle I had a 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali, pretty much loaded from the factory, but it had every option in it minus the sunroof. So I did have quite a bit in my last vehicle and decided that I wanted to switch it up and go with an SUV. So I ended up going with this Hyundai Palisade, and this is the limited version, which again is loaded. It does have every option, including 2 sunroofs, so I went from 0 to 2, which is a pretty nice improvement. I was really torn between this and the Kia Telluride just because they're kind of cousins, I guess, if you want to say. The Tellurides are a lot harder to find, and it seems like they're always going for over MSRP, so it's definitely a difficult task to find one, and if you do, you're gonna pay quite a bit of money if you want a loaded version of it. So this is the Palisade Limited. It is all-wheel drive, and I think the MSRP was about $49,000 with all the accessories it was listed with, and I got it for around $47,000, so just a couple thousand under, which to me wasn't a big deal. It does have 20-inch wheels. Personally, I'd rather have had the 18s, and I definitely want to do something in black, just because I think that would kind of make it look nice with the white paint. It does have LED running lights, and also a full LED system for high beams and low beams. It has a front camera and then also a front radar. So with the front radar system, it's actually able to have the lane keep assist, which most cars have, but it takes it one step further on the highway with something called highway drive assist. And what that does is if you set that to the speed limit of the road, it will actually change speeds along with the posted sign. So if you go from a 70-mile-an-hour highway stretch down to a 55-mile-an-hour section, the car will automatically change speeds for you, and it will actually steer for you as well. I'm not going to say it's a level 2 autonomy like Tesla has. It's more of a level 1 type system. But with that being said, I do have the ability to take my hands off the wheel for minutes at a time on the highway and not worry about, anything happening. It doesn't stray out of the lanes. It takes corners very well, and everything else. So with that being said, this is kind of just a quick run around here of what the vehicle looks like. It does have 2 sunroofs for the back and for the front, and it's got turn signals in the mirrors. It also has cameras in the mirrors as well, which we'll kind of get into once we get on the inside. Once we go into the inside a little bit, it does have really good quality of materials. It has a really nice, they call it Napa leather is what they call it here, and it's actually just a really nice finish on this. It does have the Harman Kardon speaker system. I think there's 14 speakers if I believe correctly, but I'll double check on that. It does have the seat adjustments and all that good stuff. And then the actual child locks is actually an electronic button, so instead of having to go to each door and have the lever that people are used to, you're able to control it all from the front. Moving to the back, kind of that same, again, high quality materials. They also have this, I guess, window shade, if you will, kind of like the premium vehicles do. So my windows are already tinted pretty dark, so I really don't have a need to use that, but if I had a kid in the back and they were trying to sleep, I may end up doing something with that. So you got 2 cup holders here. This is the limited, so it's going to have the captain's chairs, and these floor liners are TuxMat brand floor liners. They actually don't come with the car, but they do really kind of add a nice dimension. They are a leather type material, but they rinse off just like WeatherTech, so I'm pretty impressed with these so far. We have USBs in each seat. So you got USBs for your passengers, and you have heated and cooled seats back here. So instead of just heated like you normally see, you have both heated and cooled plugs, temperature controls. You got your own vents. You have the sunroof here, which I do have closed currently, but There's a switch for that to open, and then you have your front sunroof, and you can kind of ask yourself, this is like a microfiber suede, so it's a very different premium type feel. I was kind of concerned about it with, you know, showing marks and getting dirty. It just kind of shows the grain of everything, but it's not too bad. I haven't had any issues with it yet getting dirty, and the camera really does accentuate those marks. You really can't see them when you're looking at it with the naked eye. So, and then it does have a third row. It does have a third row seating. The third row can actually be controlled through the radio. So there's actually a button on the menu that you can control all of your seats with, which is kind of nice. You don't have to get out to actually turn on the seats or to flip them up. So here's kind of the home display when you turn it on, and it also does have a very large screen here. So if I turn the car on, you're going to get a really nice display. And then you're also going to get your home screen, which you have GPS. If you want to tap on that, you got a full screen GPS, and then you can switch between multiple screens here. Passenger talk's kind of cool. If you hit the talk now button, as a driver, you can just speak in your normal volume and your normal tone, and it'll actually broadcast your voice through the speakers all the way to the back of the car. So instead of turning around and yelling at the people in the back, you can just keep driving, you know, and then yell at them that way. And I think it's less effective because you don't get the eye contact, but kind of a neat feature, just nonetheless. It does have the weather. You can kind of see forecasts and other things yelling at me to turn the car on. And then you have XM as well as an option. So going back home, you got the full screen of this, and any of these screens you can basically switch. If you want a small map and a big radio, or a big map and a small radio, you can do that. And then the weather, you can blow that up as well. You can see a forecast and go through. But to go through those settings, you got different menus here. I'm not going to go through every menu. That can be a different video. But in the setup, there is a way to fold the seats down, and it is really nice to be able to just hit the button, the seats fold up, people can jump in the back, and do what they need to do. Down here, there's a lot of hard buttons, which is nice. I'm not a fan of going through the touchscreen to do a lot of things. So you got your map, nav, radio, hazards, kind of some select buttons. All your climate control is going to be automated through here. You got auto. You got dual zone, and then the third in the back, you can control the second and third rows as well through with the rear control. You got your shifters, which I really like. It doesn't take up a lot of space. The Telluride actually has a physical shifter, which took up quite a bit of space. So now you get this nice cup holder, and these cup holders actually kind of swing into place if you don't want them, and then they flip back out. You have wireless charging, USB, and then heated, cooled seats, heated steering wheel. You got your drive mode selects, your auto hold. So if you're at a red light, if you have this on, you can let go of the brake. Don't have to worry about the car hitting you in front of you, and you're ready to, as soon as you're ready to go, you hit the gas and then off you go. Hill descent, auto start, stop, turn off. You can do that if you don't like that feature. You have your parking assist, all the beeping. Then you have your drive view. So once you put the car in drive, you can actually see on the camera, you'll be able to see your overhead and your 360, and I can go through that just briefly. But we will head to the back. Let me open this rear sunroof up just to kind of give you a perspective. It starts about halfway for the second row, and then when the third row seats are up, it basically ends right where the heads of the passengers are. So it is a good size roof. Kind of cool feature. This door, this is the fuel door. When the vehicle is locked, the door is locked. So if someone was able to, or desired to get into your gas tank to siphon something out or sabotage you with water in your tank, if your car is locked, you cannot open this door. And it's just a simple push. There's no buttons on the inside, but that is a pretty neat feature to have. So going to the back, it is an automatic gate. You can just push on that, and you can see how much room there is here. So that's what the third row is folded down. Again, there is USBs here as well on each side, and these are actually adjustments for the third row. So if you wanted to fold that up, you got the third row coming up, and then you also have a set of buttons here. So if you wanted to fold the second row, for instance, if I wanted to fold the second row, I can push that, boom, there it goes. And then also the third row control. So if I wanted to put back down the third row that I just put up, I can do that just with this button. I can hold down this button and it will do that. So a lot of versatility. I really like that you can fold all the seats down without having to run around to different doors. And it has a lot of cargo space. And it really is a nice design. The seat belts all fasten to the side so they're not kind of hanging out into space. And then you do have a top shoulder buckle for the middle in the back as well. And then you have another 12 volt outlet back here. So tons of USBs, you got tons of outlets, tons of power, more vents for the third row. Again, you have that adjustable gate which adjusts itself, and it's self-closing automatically. So we'll kind of move into the front a little bit and talk about some of these features. So let me turn this car on so it doesn't die. And turn the air down because it's a little warm today. 75, but the sun's out. So we'll move into the first part. We'll talk about this gauge cluster. It does have different features and different options. When you change the modes, like I'll go to sport mode here, the dash changes, it gets red, it looks kind of, sportier. And with all these modes, they do make a difference. The steering, like stiffness actually changes. Your throttle response will obviously change. And then along with some suspension changes. So the suspension, I didn't mention when I was doing the outside walkthrough, but the suspension is actually an auto leveling. So if you hook up a trailer to your suspension, the max towing capacity on this vehicle is 5,000 pounds. But if you were to put a travel trailer or something small back there and actually start driving, the auto leveling suspension I think it was within like a mile or two, will actually level the back end out automatically. So while you're going down the road, going down the highway, you don't actually feel that, back end sagging. So that's kind of cool. It's just something with the struts itself, the way that they're done. I'm not sure how the magic works, but that's just one of the features that they have. You can go through all of these menus. I have menus turned off as well, so there are additional menus. Drive modes, wheel, power, fuel economy. Right now with this SUV, it is a 3.8 liter V6. I didn't expect to get immaculate gas mileage, but I'm averaging about mid-20s, and that's mixed. I just actually filled up, as you can see, and I was kind of riding it in sport mode on the way here. But typically on the highway, if I set it, I'm getting between 28 and 30 miles per gallon doing 70. And if I'm cruising 50, 55 and I got the cruise on, it'll get roughly about the same if the cruise is set. In traffic, it'll go down to the low 20s. But if you're doing a long highway road trip, 25 to 30, somewhere in there is definitely a good expectation. One of the cool features with the turn signals, if you turn the turn signal on, you get a camera view. So this happens while you're driving. If you're switching lanes, whatever you're doing, you got the option to see the turn signals in here, which is kind of nice because I've gotten accustomed to it. So when I drive my wife's car that doesn't have it, I'm like, oh man, I got to turn my head to look. That's kind of such a chore, but nonetheless. And then you can also switch your views here. So if you wanted your GPS in the middle, if you wanted all the information that was on the right, you can kind of put that in the middle if you wanted it in a larger display. And you can kind of just customize really the way that your display looks. It does have, again, that adaptive cruise control and that highway drive assist. And it also has the heads-up display. So in the heads-up display, it shows you your speed. and it also shows you your cruise set. Let me see, I'm trying to get it in the view there. And it also shows you your blind spot indicator like it would in your mirrors. So that little icon when there's a car next to you, that shows up in the heads-up display as well, which I've never had that show up in the mirror, which is kind of cool. So, or in the heads-up display. A lot of cool features. It does have, you know, the automatic lights. It also has rain sensing wipers. So if I put it on auto, I found that out in the car wash, so you should probably turn that off before you go into the car wash. But it does have auto rain sensing wipers. So if you set it on auto and it starts to rain, you don't have to worry about adjusting it slower, faster, up and down, on and off. Kind of a nice feature. I just washed my car, so I turned that off. But it displays your weather on the bottom, and that's kind of really it for the small display. There's a lot more that I'm really not going to go into all the details of the electronics, because that can be another video. I'm just trying to do a quick overview. And then down here you have your lane keep assist button. Wow, that was fun. And you have your park assist, and then you have your traction control. You also have the third row, or the trunk button to open from here. So if you wanted to open or close it for your Kroger grocery pickup, or if you just wanted to open it without getting out of the car, you hold that button down, the gate opens, the gate closes. Pretty nice feature, especially with a lot of the contactless grocery pickups that people are doing right now. And just kind of going through some of these, I'll go through some of these features really quick. BlueLink is kind of like an equivalent to OnStar, where it has the mirror. So it's got BlueLink, and then it also has your HomeLink for your garage door openers. And here's your BlueLink, your guidance, and your emergency systems. And unlike OnStar, that comes free for I think like 90 days now, or maybe even less. I know they just cut their basic service from a 5-year included to like 3 months or something like that. BlueLink on here, I believe, is 3 years or 5 years. It's looks like 2023. So that's definitely, a long amount of time to have that. So that's 3 years of included services. That's weather, that's vehicle diagnostics, that's all kind of good stuff. So looking at the setup, I did mention the third row seats. So if you go to vehicle, you got your heads up display. You can actually change. Here kind of shows of what everything that shows up. So you can see the blind spots. You can see the navigation will show up in there. Traffic signs, speedometer. You can change the color. You can change, all kinds of stuff on here, which is kind of cool. Driver assistance. These are all of your lane keep, blind spot, drive modes. It'll give you can change your alerts for climate controls. You can change your settings for that, lights. Let me just get to the seats here. You got your cluster. So third row, seat back folding. You have this, and right now the seats are folded down. So I'm going to hit the left unfold button and the right unfold button, and we'll see these seats unfold, and the headrest will pop up, and everything will be a good time. So there's that. And then the sunroof, I like to keep that closed just because it keeps kind of that heat out. And then if I wanted to fold the seats back down, I got the ability to do that without getting out, without going to the back, without having to pull any levers or hit any switches. Those seats fold down perfectly. So I just wanted to give a quick overview of what the vehicle has to offer. It really is an impressive vehicle, and I always get white, it seems like, just because I like the way that white looks, especially when you black it out. But I just wanted to share this with you guys and give you a quick review of this vehicle. I'm very impressed with it. It's by far my favorite vehicle that I've ever had, and it doesn't include the cost of a Denali, of a $70,000 price tag. Like I said, this thing's loaded, and the MSRP was just under 50. And this has every single option. It even included $1,000 in accessories, trailer hitch, mats, all kinds of extras that you really don't need to get if you don't want to, but it's definitely an option for you. So thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions, comment below. If you guys want to see an in-depth video on the tech or anything, also comment below, and I can see what I can do for you guys. Today's a beautiful day. Decided to wash it and finally get out here and do this video. I've had it for about, I'd say 2 months. I got it at the end of April when I turned my Denali in, and I've had nothing but compliments, nothing but a great experience with it, and I plan on having this thing a long time, which for me is kind of rare because I go through vehicles every couple years, but this is one that I think I'm going to keep, especially with a child on the way. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and let me know if you have any questions.